Hi there, my name's Richard Smith, and this is my novel, The Woodcock, and I'm going to read you a little bit from it. I was on the beach the first time I saw them. I had a crab struggling in my right hand and the killing jar in my left. There was a dense rain of fine cold particles. Turnstones poked around at the weed-strewn tide line. Visibility can't have been good, the view of the grey North Sea fading into the mist within 100 yards. And yet I saw them. The two of them. They were on the cliff edge, a big one and a little one. A big man, as I was later to learn, and a slender girl. She could be said to be short only in relation to him. The crab, with that strange strength of crabs, managed somehow to pivot in my grip, and I was diverted by a fierce pinch in the webbing between my forefinger and thumb. When, having subdued the little swine, I looked back toward Priory Bluff, they were gone. But their image lingered. She had been standing still, quite still, at the cliff edge, and he, the larger figure beside her, had been gesturing with a wildly waving arm across the bay, towards the sparse masts of the harbour. It's a wonder that I could see them at all in that rain or mist, or whatever you want to call it, but in fact, I can still see them. I slipped the crab, safely jarred, into my satchel and turned, as the tide was turning, back towards the land. It was a Sunday, around lunchtime, and the townspeople, as they issued from the chapel at the harbour end, strolled in twos and threes, in good hats and sober suits, up the sea road, towards their homes or Holroyd's pub, or towards nowhere, just towards the end of the sea road, where it turned inland at the Priory, at which point, having completed their promenade, they'd turn on their heels and return the way they came. As I laboured through the soft ankle-deep sand between the tide line and the road, I tried to pick out Harriet and her mother in the crowd. I couldn't see either of them, only a stream of indeterminate faces turned narrow-eyed towards the sea. Besides, my eye, or my mind's eye at any rate, was still distracted. Those figures on the cliff, in the rain. And my hand hurt. A crab can easily draw blood when it wants to, and in this case I couldn't blame it in the least for wanting to. Someone's hat blew off. It went pinwheeling along the sea road. I laughed to watch the young men herring after it, their own hats tumbling as they ran. Harriet wasn't there when I got home. On a Sunday she often went to her mother's for lunch, an arrangement that suited all three of us. On the occasions when we took Sunday lunch together, Harriet was embarrassed by my absence, so fresh in the memory, from Mr. Aldridge's Sabbath sermon. Her mother found it a painful strain, indeed almost a physical strain, to keep from jibing at me with regard to the same subject, and I spent the meal wishing that I was in my workroom, pickling shore life. I was in my study, applying a gummed label to the dead crab's jar, when she returned. "Hello, darling." "Hello, my sweetest," I called. I set the jar on the appropriate shelf and rinsed my hands in the cold water basin. While I towelled, she came through, hat in hand, and, balancing her weight on the ball of one foot, reached up to kiss me. "Another crab?" "Porcinus puber." "That's another crab in Latin." "Indeed." I tapped the jar. "Velvet crab. It has a sort of fur all over it, and if you aren't quick, the fur, like the bloom on a delicate fruit, just vanishes when the crab is dead." She held my arm and eyed the jar, and the crab within, with unease. "Perhaps the poor thing oughtn't be dead at all, John," she said. "This one had it coming, my dear one." I opened my right hand and showed her the pincer wound. She made a small noise of pity and dropped at once to her knees to press her lips to it. I was surprised to find that my wife had the capacity to arouse me even here, in this room that reeked of formalin, iodine, and salt. With my left hand, while she knelt, I stroked her roughly pinned beach-blonde hair. So that's it, my novel, The Woodcock, out on July 1st from Fairlight Books, and available in all good bookshops and all good libraries. Thank you very much.